Hi, I'm Nikki Ramos, and I'm here on behalf of John Paul Mitchell Systems. I'm so excited to share with you a beautiful hand-painted look in under 10 sections. So here we'll start with our doll head, and the sectioning is like a football. So really using the bone structure of your guest's head to determine where exactly your section is going to be. So this is going to be all hand-painted to frame her face. For my first section, I'm going to begin in the back. And this is going to be one section that is pulled diagonal back. So if you can imagine, this is the area that when her hair falls forward, she sees the most. So that's where I'm going to spend my time. To prepare the hair, I'll be using Paul Mitchell Awapui Wild Ginger Shine Spray. And this is going to help to give the hair just a bit of sheen. And when I'm hand painting, it helps the lightener to glide on smoothly. I'll be working with Paul Mitchell Skylight. It's a clay lightener that lifts up to 7 levels. So I'll go ahead and get my skylight here. And over directing the hair back, so I can add a pop of lightness coming from her hairline. Just something really soft. The developer you choose on your skylight is of course going to be dependent on the fabric that you're working with. If she has previously colored hair. Today I'm working with 30 volume cream developer. Taking that down to this section. Now for the ends, I'm going to switch my product. And this is Paul Mitchell Synchro Lift Plus, lifts up to 9 levels. So I'm going to help to motivate these ends to get more of a pop by using something just a little bit stronger. So that was section 1. Now I'll move into the sides. Another diagonal section. Flip the rest away. For this side section, I will be laying in a contour. And a contour is a diagonal slant, so from point A to point B. And what that's going to do is offer a high around the face of lightness, dropping down into the low, using this depth to create that beautiful hand-painted look. So almost like the lightness is dropping down. The nice thing about using a clay lightener is that I am able to layer this product on, and the more saturation I get with this, the more lift I'll achieve. Now that I'm happy with that design of the contour, I'll switch products. So now I've got my Synchro Lift Plus coming in underneath, holding, and applying my Synchro Lift Plus through the ends, really making sure that I'm working it through. This is going to ensure that I get maximum lightness and brightness out of these ends. Now I'm getting to this top area here near the fringe. So I'll section a bit of the top of the fringe out so that I can address that separately. Now, depending on the look that you're going for and also what your guest previously is coming in with, you may opt to leave a low light here uncolored, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So that's about 1/4 inch that's acting as a low light. So I'll go ahead and kick it over to the back. I can just gently clip that back out of my way. little shine spray. So before I paint on this fringe, I do want to drop it just a little bit to see how the hair naturally falls and lays according to her bone structure and her haircut before I commit to any sort of painting design. Go ahead and split this into two because my hands are small. We'll address this front first. So I'm using my clay lightener. Just over directing up and sweeping that lightener on, going to the base but not on the base, and just gently using my finger to blur. Just gonna give her a beautiful face frame right in the front. So now I'm ready to drop that. And naturally, when you drop it, it tends to want to buckle. So to get myself out of that buckle, I'll just grab that hair and do like a shoestring motion back and forth as I decrease elevation. And now I've gotten myself out of the buckle. Let's lay in this contour, blur, earlier I kind of mentioned saturation with a clay lightener. It's pretty important to understand saturation levels. So every time I use my pinky and blur just by going an upward stroke, or I could even use my paintbrush and upward stroke that way too. Every time I do that, I'm shifting the saturation. So this right here, this blurry area, that's considered light saturation. That's going to give me the least amount of lift. The more white that we see, the brighter it's going to be. But having that flick or that blur up there is what's really going to give me a gradients of color. Switching products, pop those ends up, Sink or Lift Plus, lifts up to 9 levels, which is awesome. So because it has such nice lifting power, and she has some old highlights underneath here, I went ahead and used 20 volume. We'll lay that down. Little incubation here. Pretty happy with that. All right, see how this little guy likes to just be sort of droopy? A little trick, use your shine spray to give it a little shine there, and it will stick to the other cling, the film. and then we'll come back to refine and see the finished look. So here we have the finished result. My refinement formula was Paul Mitchell The Color XG 9VG with Violet Intensifier. So we'll pull back this beautiful face frame and we can see all of those highlights and even the little ones peeking out from in front. Thank you so much for joining me today in our hand painting class. Again, my name is Nikki Ramos and it was a pleasure.